Because I'm such a big advocate for entrepreneurship, there's a huge misconception that people think that everyone should quit their job. Not so. If you love your job, I think you should keep it. What I believe, however, is that even if you keep your job, you should have more than one stream of income. So in this video, I'm going to tell you how you can create multiple streams of income even while you're working your 9 to 5. Stay tuned. Hey, welcome back to my channel. If you're new to me, my name is Courtney Sanders. I'm a full-time online entrepreneur, wife, mom. I do all the things, I wear all the hats, but I really specialize in helping working professionals turn their skills into an online business and an online income. And in today's video, I want to talk about that exactly. If you're a working professional, it might not be time for you to quit your job yet, but that doesn't mean that you can't create multiple streams of income. I'm going to tell you what I did because I created not one, but 2 income streams while I was working my job full-time back in 2015, and I was actually able to generate over 6 figures in these 2 side businesses while I was working my full-time job. So if I could do it, you could do it too. And if you want to find out, I'm going to show you. So let's get into it. Okay, the first thing you need to do if you want to create multiple streams of income while working your job is you have to get really good at identifying pain points. So one of the downsides of being an employee is that you technically get paid regardless of what's going on in your company. I mean, unless they completely downsize or just lay you off. But what I mean is even if the product isn't necessarily serving the customer or there's things going on, as long as that company is still operating, you're still gonna get a paycheck. However, when you're an entrepreneur, you really don't eat unless what you are providing is beneficial to your target market. And so I say that that's actually a disadvantage for the employee because the employee does not learn how to identify profitable problems in the world and they don't know how to identify pain points. So I give you an example. I was actually at my best friend's wedding and my husband was sitting next to another guy at the wedding. He was the date of somebody else that was in the bridal party and they were chatting and the guy was really lamenting and talking about how he hated his website and he needed to get his website redone because he was an attorney and he had a big project going on and he just always felt really embarrassed when giving people his URL because he's like his website was not up to snuff. So once I was done, with my matron of honor duties and got back to the table with my husband and my husband introduced me to this attorney, he started sharing the same thing and talking with me and immediately, even though I was at a wedding, so this is how business minded I am, my ears immediately perked up because he was like, man, I really would love a new website. Now here's the thing. I'm not a website designer by any stretch of the imagination, but I know how to get websites created and I know how to get websites done pretty inexpensively because I am really good at outsourcing really talented individuals overseas online. So just by listening to this guy, I was able to strike up a deal with him where I was like, well, tell you what, once we, get back home, I'm going to email you. Let's work something out where I'll get this website done for you. So notice I didn't say I was going to create it myself, but I said, I'll get this website done for you. And if you like it, you can pay me. And if you don't like it, no skin off my nose, don't worry about it. Who's not going to take that deal, right? Of course he took it. And so I was able to outsource a website inexpensively that looked really great. And I was able to present it to him. And of course he loved it. And that was a really easy way for me to make a few $100s just by being a guest at a wedding. And so that really kind of made me open my eyes and say, you know what? I think there's a market here. I think I can do this. I can create, decently priced, attractive websites for small business owners that don't cost me a lot because I'm outsourcing it, but it's still affordable to them because it's cheaper than what they would pay if they had to pay a firm. So this is what I mean by getting really good at identifying pain points. You want to go through your daily life and just start to notice when people complain about things, when they say, man, I really hate this, or I really wish I could have this, or don't you just hate it when? Anytime people use those words, my ears automatically perk up because I'm listening to see if there's a profit opportunity for me to provide a solution to their problem. So you want to get really good at identifying those pain points. Okay, the next thing you need to do if you want to create multiple streams of income while working your 9 to 5 is you need to sell what already sells. Oh, if I had $1 for every time somebody tells me they're gonna create this new fangled startup, whatever, look, I'm not knocking startups, I'm not knocking innovation. If you are the next, Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, Bill Gates, whatever, like Sarah Blakely, to throw a woman in there, have at it. However, when you are trying to keep your 9 to 5 and you really just want to create a multiple or an additional stream of income on the side, it's really important to not try to reinvent the wheel here, but sell the things that are already selling. Why? Because quite frankly, you don't have the time nor the budget that it would take to really promote and market something brand new. What people don't realize when they're coming up with new products, and you see this all the time on Shark Tank when like Mark Cuban and them, they're like ripping these people to shreds, it's because most dreamers, honestly, and inventors and people who are always coming up with new ideas and want to turn it into a business, they do not understand the amount of money it takes to educate a population about whatever it is you're offering before they buy, right? So people have to be knowledgeable about what this is and how this can, benefit them and how this can solve their problem before they even start to think about, do I want to buy this thing? Trust me, you ain't got the time for that. You don't have the money for it. Just trust me on this one. You want the quickest bang for your buck right out the gate, right? Because you're working a 9 to 5 job. So to make it easy on yourself, save the innovation and all that for when you've already quit your job and you already have a successful business and you have some time and some money and some wiggle room in your life to play with. When you're just trying to create an additional stream of income, you need to sell what's already selling. So as I mentioned in that last example, I was able to sell websites because people are already looking for that and websites already sell. So start to open your eyes to products and services that people are already buying and start to ask yourself, what are some ways that you can offer those same products and services but in a better way or a more affordable way or in some way that sets you apart, but make sure you're selling what's already selling. Okay, the next thing you need to do if you want to create multiple streams of income while you're working a 9 to 5 job is you want to sell what I call our outsourceable services. So the big thing when you're working a 9 to 5 and trying to create multiple streams of income is your time is super limited. And even if you feel like Superwoman and you don't mind getting up at 4 a.m. and you don't mind going to bed at midnight, and I can say that because I did it, you're gonna get worn down pretty quickly. And then if you add in a spouse and kids and family responsibilities, you're volunteering, you're doing all the things, it just gets really messy really quickly. So what you wanna do is set your sights on some type of service idea that you ultimately can outsource. So maybe in the beginning you do it yourself, but you want to do something that you can train somebody else to do, and then you can become more of the manager of the business and less of the person actually doing the business. So 2 books that really talk about this really well that I really love. One is The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss, which is a classic, and the second one is The E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber. So if you want more information about how you can work on your business and not in your business, and this too applies when you're working a 9 to 5 job, make sure you check out both of those books. And if you're curious about where on earth you're gonna find this help that you can train and get these people that you can outsource, I actually have a cheat sheet that shows you how to get inexpensive and even free outsource help for your business regardless of what you're doing. So even if you are working a 9 to 5 job and you've got this business on the side, you're gonna need some help and you wanna get that help early on. So click the link below in order to download this cheat sheet, and it gives you all of my secrets about sourcing the best talent online for a really affordable price. Before I get into the next tip, I wanna hear from you. How many streams are you trying to build outside of your 9 to 5? Don't worry, I won't tell your boss. Tell me how many streams you're trying to build in the comments below. Okay, the 4th thing you need to do if you are trying to create multiple streams of income while working your 9 to 5 is you need to focus on big ticket items. Yes, so if you're really trying to create multiple streams of income and you're trying to do it in a way that doesn't take up all your time and doesn't leave you burned out and wondering what you're even doing this for, you want to come up with services and products that you can charge more for. So my personal kind of metric for this, and this is going to vary depending on how much income you want to bring, but for me, I really wasn't willing to create a business that I couldn't sell the product or service for less than a few $100s. So as I mentioned with that online website business, I think my first website I sold for like $600. That was worth it to me for the time to kind of put all the pieces together and to work with the clients outside of my 9 to 5 job. It was worth it for me just to generate that extra income. But imagine if I was coming up with a different business, but I was only selling it for like $25 or $50. Can you imagine how many sales I would have had to make in order for that to be worth my time? It wouldn't have been. So I like to recommend that if you do have a 9 to 5 job, you actually want to start on the higher end of the scale with your products and services, because that allows you to generate that that income faster for less time invested. And then once you have that income stream going and then you decide, hey, I'm making more than I do at my job, I'm gonna quit, then you can start to scale down and offer maybe more affordable or inexpensive things in order to capture more of the market. But again, when your time is super limited and your funds are super limited, you wanna get what's gonna be the biggest bang for your buck, so make sure that you are selling higher price products and services. Okay, the fifth thing you need to do if you want to create an income or multiple streams of income outside of your 9 to 5 is you gotta put yourself out there. Yes, you have to put yourself out there, meaning you have to go to those networking events. You might have to put a little byline on your LinkedIn profile. Like, you're gonna have to be visible. It's gonna be very difficult for potential customers and clients to find out about you if you're trying to keep what you're doing a secret. So I know there are conflicts and it's like, oh, I don't really want my boss to find out. You know, I dealt with that as well. I just made sure that I was only targeting the type of people that would buy my products and services, and those type of people were the complete opposite from my boss, right? So I only posted in Facebook groups that those people would be in and that my boss would not be in. I only talked about things on my podcast that someone who was in my target market would be searching for and that my boss would not be searching for. So I was very strategic in that I did put myself out there, but I put myself out there so that only people who are in my target market would be able to find me. And if you didn't know that I had this business, it's not something that you would have stumbled on. So I just want to put that out there as a disclaimer. However, you do need to put yourself out there. And in addition to putting yourself out there online, you need to put yourself out there in person. So I remember at the time I was living in Dallas and I was driving down the street, and you know, I had started this little kind of like website business where I was outsourcing these websites, and I noticed that there was a grand opening sign for this eyelash studio. And so completely unprompted, I hadn't planned this, I literally like pulled into the parking lot of this eyelash studio, and I walked in and I said, hi, I noticed you just, grand opening. And of course the owner, she was really excited to tell me about her eyelash studio. And I just straight up asked her, I said, oh, well, do you have your website done yet? And she was like, no, I don't think we have that together. And I'm like, well, I'm local to the area. I actually have a little website design agency. I would love to send you a sample of what your website could look like. And if you like it, we can talk about how we can make this yours. And if you don't like it, don't worry about it. Again, who is not going to take that deal, right? So that would not have happened unless I was willing to put myself out there. And so I'm very much willing to put myself out there even to this day in my business. And if you want to create multiple streams of income in your life outside of your 9 to 5, you're going to have to be bold like that and be willing to put yourself out there as well. All right, so this is exactly what I did in 2015 and in 2016 before I was able to quit my job and go full-time in my business. But this was how I was able to generate 6 figures in my side hustles before I left my job, and how you can too. So as I mentioned earlier, if you need help and you don't have enough time to do all of the things all the time, make sure you get help. I have my outsourcing cheat sheet that tells you how to find inexpensive and affordable, sometimes even free help that can do various tasks for you in your business. So go ahead and click the link below in order to access that cheat sheet. And in the meantime, if you like this information, I share more of my backstory and more about side hustles and all the things on my podcast. It's both on iTunes and Spotify at The Courtney Sanders Show. And I also share a lot of tips on my Instagram. I post there pretty frequently. So you can find me on Instagram at CourtneyLSanders. So if you like this video, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell to be notified when my next video comes out. And I will see you next time. Bye.